Hey guys, welcome to day 7 of our weight loss challenge, and today's topic is adaptation. So the body is made to adapt. Okay, that's why when you get cold, you shiver to cool to heat up, and then when you get hot, you sweat to cool down. Right? When you have a virus in your body raises the temperature to kill off the virus, right? Or it has vomiting or diarrhea to kill or to get the virus out of the body. Those are adaptive processes. So when I looked up the definition of adapt before I done this talk, it said to become adjusted to new conditions. Okay, so that's a literal definition of the term adapt. So here's the thing that I want you guys to understand is the body is, it has its own mind, right? That's why you don't have to think for your heart to beat. You don't have to think for your lungs to breathe. You don't have to think to shiver. You don't have to think to get goosebumps. You don't have to think all those things. It just happens because the body is constantly reacting to the environment around it, okay? So you have no controls over that. The only control that you really have is the environment that you put it in. If you're shivering and you don't like that, then you go into a warmer environment. That's where you have the control, right? So when we're talking about when we're talking about disease processes, right? So all that is the body's way of adapting to whatever environment you chose to put it in for a consistent amount of time, okay? So let's take heart disease, right? Let's take a blocked artery where you would have to have bypass surgery. So we know that atherosclerosis is what it's called when you have plaquing in your arteries, okay? And we know that atherosclerosis, I have a hard time saying that word, it's long, is caused by inflammation and consistent chronic inflammation, basically tearing down the walls of the artery, causing that plaquing to happen. Okay, so let's take away the body's ability to adapt in that situation. So if inflammation is tearing down the walls of your arteries, how long do you think you're going to live if it continually does that? Not very long, because the walls of an artery is very, very thin. Well, the plaquing is there as a protective mechanism because inflammation doesn't break down plaquing. So the artery is actually building up the plaque to protect you or preserve you or to adapt to the scenario or the condition that you've put it in. Okay? So think of that as a positive thing. We all think plaquing is a negative thing. Well, if plaquing wasn't there and your body didn't adapt by building up that plaque, then you would die sooner than later. What your body wants to do is build that plaque because it's adapting to the situation you put yourself in, but it's building it to preserve you so that you have more time to, one, figure out what the issue was and change it, right? And for two, so that you just don't die in a shorter amount of time, okay? So that's what adaptation is, okay? And we can take it further into other things. Let's say, I want to do one more example. Let's say cancer. So cancer is an adaptive process of tissues or cells being in an environment that it can't live in. So generally speaking, cancer is in a low oxygenated area and a high sugar environment. Okay? So when you put those two things into your body, you're not working out, you're not bringing enough oxygen in, and you're taking the carbohydrates and the sugars in excess amounts, then that is an environment for cancer to grow. It basically, normal, healthy cells cannot live without oxygen and with too much sugar. Okay, that's just a proven fact. So if they can't live, then they die, or they replicate into what we know as cancer cells. Okay, because a cancer cell thrives in a low oxygen environment and in a high sugar environment. Okay, so when you create that environment, what you're doing is taking normal healthy cells, and so they don't die, they convert to cancer cells so that they can thrive and prolong your life so that you can decrease your sugars and get more oxygen in, and then they convert back to normal healthy cells because what they're doing is adapting to the environment that you give it. Does that make sense? I hope so. If not, email me and ask me because I would love to explain more. Education on stuff like that is one of my favorite things to do. So if you have questions, definitely ask me because I love answering questions. So the reason why I wanted to teach you guys about adaptation and the way that the body adapts to different scenarios is this. I want to tailor it to what we're doing now, okay? a lot of times when you go on what you consider a diet, right? I don't consider what we're doing a diet. We're trying to change your lifestyle. But I understand when you change what you eat, you see it as a diet, and because it is hard, you definitely see it as a diet. So let's just play with what we're comfortable talking about. So let's just call it a diet. So when you go on a diet that eliminates certain things that you're typically you know, accustomed to eating, then you have to make changes to what you're going to feed yourself past that point, okay? And if you don't make that change, what typically happens is you deprive yourself, okay? So you don't eat and you go hungry, right? So the whole point, or not the whole point, but one of the biggest things in this program is to make sure that you don't get hungry, all right? Because what happens when you get hungry is your body's going to adapt to that situation, and that's where the adaptation comes in. So imagine this. So you're not giving your body food. And remember, it has a mind of its own. So it's very, very smart, past what you actually know. It is very smart. So if you don't give it food for a while and it's calling for food and you're hungry and you're really feeling those hunger pains, but you don't have time or whatever, or you don't know what to eat because you're on this diet and things like that, then your body, when it does get food, is going to adapt to the environment that you put it in, which is starvation, right? And what it's going to do is it's going to automatically take what it needs to catch itself up and live, but then the rest of it store directly into fat, okay? Because what it's saying is they're not feeding me, so I have to store what I have extra here so that whenever they don't feed me again, I have something to go to, okay? So the big thing when you're going through this plan is don't let yourself go hungry, because if you do, your body is going to store extra stuff into fat, and that's the opposite of what we want to do. It's just going to make you have decreased results, things like that. So always keep a snack with you. Always have not just any snack, but a good healthy snack that fits into what we're doing. Nuts, chia seeds, some type of protein that you can keep maybe in the refrigerator somewhere. So, but anyway, keep a good, healthy food with you so that whenever you're not at what we consider a traditional meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you have something to give your body so that it's not just storing everything excess into fat. Okay, so that was the reason I was bringing up adaptation, and I hope you got something out of this. Don't go hungry. I know yesterday I was talking about eating too much. Now I'm talking about eating too little. I didn't even think about that until now. But anyway, both of them good points. You don't want to do either one. You want to be just right. Okay, that was a little bear. So anyway, God bless, guys, and see you later. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye.